my name's Karen Tems of the Business Network in Central and East Lancashire. Proud to be a sponsor of Business Bites with business leaders in conjunction with Lancashire and GBTV. Today we're chatting with Ben Griffiths of Clever IT, and their mission and passion is to make their clients' business and IT systems cost efficient. Welcome, Ben.
Welcome. Good to see you, Karen, as always.
It's great to see you as well, and thank you for being in the chair today and sharing some of your wisdom. So I do know that you founded Clever IT some 9 years ago. What was your motivation?
Well, motivation, I'd just turned 30, and I think I'd just hit a little bit of a crossroads. I'd worked at the same company for 9.5 years, and I think you just get to that point sometimes where you want to do things yourself and do it your way. When I started the company, we very much wanted to create just a small business with 1 or 2 people. Didn't necessarily envisage from the start for it to become a team of 10 as it is at this point. But like you said at the start, we just very much wanted to hit the IT industry a little bit differently. We wanted to deliver what I felt other people weren't doing. We very much look at the business first and then instruct their IT to make sure that the business is running as efficiently as it can. So we do all those other things that IT support companies do. But what motivated me from the very start was to try to be different. And I guess ultimately, as cheesy as it sounds, clever.
I think it's a great title, and I know you use it to its best advantage in all of your marketing efforts, so well done for that. So over the years, you will have weathered many storms, and I suppose from being a solopreneur to then moving on to having people work with you, what did you find most difficult about letting go?
Letting go.
And shock horror.
I know, shock. Yeah, that was one of the hardest. About 4 or 5 years ago, I started working with a business coach, and I was a terrible delegator, I have to say. You know, having grown the company a little bit bigger, probably then 4 or 5 people, 500,000 sales, I was working 6 or 7 days a week. At one point, I was blind carbon copied into every single IT problem in the business, which was just ridiculous. But the reality is when you care about it as much as I do, you don't want to let go, because you want to make sure that everything you continue to, deliver the same level continually throughout the business. But spending time with a business coach who's been excellent, and discussing and reading, sorry, lots of background noise, and reading a lot of good business books, realised that you've got to let go, and I eventually began to. And we certainly wouldn't be where we're at. So kind of in the last 3 or 4 years, we've doubled in size, both in turnover and profit and people. I now realise that people aren't always going to do things like I would, but to truly build a business, you've got to empower people. You've got to let them do it their way. And their way isn't always your way, as long as they're doing it the clever way. You've got to let them make their own mistakes, and sometimes they get it right, sometimes they get it wrong, but I'm very lucky. We've got a fantastic team.
And sometimes you've even got to accept that maybe they would have done it better than you.
Absolutely.
There's a shocker.
I know, I began to realise that. And now, fast forward a few years, because day to day, I don't do help desk, and I don't install computers anymore, and I don't even install servers anymore. Admittedly, I keep up to speed with the technology because you've got to. You've got to know what the industry's doing. But occasionally now I find myself, the client will ask a question and I'll bring the technical person in, because the reality is they're doing it day to day, and they can do and deliver it faster and better than I can. And ultimately that's what's important.
Excellent.
It's about carrying on doing the things that make the boat go faster. And the reality is that's a good book, by the way. It's making sure that the people in the business are doing what's best for the business. So actually, me going seeing 3 to 4 clients a week, whether that's new prospects or existing customers, a better use of my time and a bit more productive for the business than doing some of the admin and accounts and the more technical things.
I know from past discussions with you that you are quite rightly very, very proud of a consistent team. You have very, very low staff turnover. So what's the secret of that success? Because it can be a challenge for a lot of business owners who I speak to. So tip for the top, how do you get the right team and how do you keep them?
Yeah, very much when we rebranded as Clever IT a few years ago, you're setting yourself a bar, if you like, straight away. So one of the things that we started off with, unlike a lot of our competition, we started off with really experienced technical people from the start. So I found that a lot of our competition, their first hire would have been somebody quite junior. We didn't do that. The first gentleman who's now a technical director, Peter, there were months in the first 6 months that he worked at Clever IT that he was earning more money than me. And that's the reality of it. So I'd say hiring a skill set, people who are ambitious. One of the reasons I'm constantly put myself under pressure to grow the company is because to keep your best people, they've got to see an opportunity to grow with the business and for them to advance. And that's not always about earning more money. That's about career advancement, more engagement with the client sometimes. So we do work hard to look after our people. I think we do that.
Yeah.
We don't, I'm a big believer of treat people as you'd expect to be treated. And, we don't run the company like some owners do. We're quite fair. When people have got problems, because people do, we're there for them, whether that's through business and personally. I feel if you support people and you look after people at the right times, then they're always there to look after you. So it's a two-way street like any relationship. And, over the years, I've realised that I think that's the hidden recipe is two things that we have a very low turnover of is one, staff turnover is extremely low and client turnover, touch wood, is extremely low as well.
Right.
We've in 9 years, we've lost under 10 customers. And a handful of those, unfortunately, went out of business or were bought out by other companies. So, we don't really lose customers. And I feel that's for the same reason. We get to know the client, we understand their business, but it sounds again, but we have a strong friendship with a lot of our clients as well. So we everyone says they go above and beyond. I feel we do.
That's excellent. And it brings me very nicely on to my next question. You said that you lose very few clients, except where maybe, half of them had actually gone out of business or been bought by another company. Out of all of the challenges that your business has faced, how has COVID affected your business, Ben?
Yeah, COVID, I think I did a presentation a few weeks ago on this in front of quite a few people at the network. And I should have had it to hand. I had a funny picture on my iPad of what everybody felt like, every business owner felt like 3 to 4 days of COVID. And I think I'd done a little selfie of me. And at the time I had quite a big beard because the barber shop and quite crazy hair. And thought it's my wife's. Got my own barber now. She's done a fantastic job.
One of the many benefits of being at home.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, we at the first few days were shock. Talking because of that friendship base that we've built with our clients. I have lots of friends in business. I spent a lot of time on the phone to people for the first week or two. So many phone calls, very worried, concerned people So I definitely felt after the first few days, you almost had the weight of the world on your shoulders. That's certainly how I felt. I think a lot of business owners did. Because every phone call that you had was quite, we had businesses who were in hospitality, who, certain sectors who have been massively impacted by this. As far as how we work, yeah, for sure, 45% of our revenue is recurring. So some of our we're lucky that some of our overheads are paid by our regular income, but 55% actually, and I don't mind. Our business turns over £1 million a year now, so £500,000 of that, 50 to 60,000 on average a month, is project work, and that project work just completely disappeared from around the 1st of April. So we were really busy at the end of March, mobilising people. I think we sold 25 laptops in 2 days. So, that was good from that respect. But then the whole of April was extremely quiet. We did furlough some of our team, which I have to say was an amazing initiative of the government. I'm sure I'm not on my own to say that without some of the things and the support that they've done, it would have been a lot harder. But we certainly learned, if I rewind 2 or 3 years, like a lot of business owners, I ran my business very much. We made money and we took it out. But certainly in the last 2 or 3 years, as the business has matured, we've not done that. So we did have a rainy day fund, if you like, and I think.
Boy, did it rain?
Yeah, and it really did rain. So no, it was a huge shock. Right at the moment, certainly, I was just on the phone to somebody a short while ago. We're certainly not through it. We're lucky that we're doing okay. I'm lucky that I don't worry about my business not being here in the future, like some people do, unfortunately. In actual fact, in a, let's say, a recession, because it's very likely we're going to head into one now, I think that's a certainty. IT support companies can do quite well in recessions. So whilst we're not feeling that now, in a few months' time, the bigger corporations unfortunately make redundancies. They look at costs. A lot of the time, the IT people can be made redundant, and they outsource to companies like Clever IT. Now, having said that, those people who've been made redundant at the big companies then end up working for MSPs like Clever IT. So no, we're doing okay. I'd say we're starting getting a lot of. I'd say I'm personally busier at the moment than I've been in years. That's not necessarily seen monetizing at this stage. The reason I'm busy is because if a client wants advice, a business nature, it's me who does that at the business. And I'm having questions like, we're thinking about having people working from home more. How do we do that? I'm having questions like, we've got 2 offices and I'm thinking of closing one of them. How could we have people work from home more frequently? And if they do work from home more frequently, whilst people have been okay during a pandemic with everything else they've had to worry about, there are business owners who are starting to say, how do I know what time they log on in the morning? How do I know if they're actually doing the work and not sat at home watching Netflix? So we're beginning to create packages for our clients to protect them against that.
Which is great. I mean, every business that I've spoken to in our membership, and those members of Lancashire who are common to both the Lisa's group and ours, is that everybody has come out of this with something different that they're going to do as a result. We've had such extraordinary learning. We may not have felt like that at the time, but actually we've learned a lot, and our businesses are going to be stronger and offer a wider service than ever before. If you could pinpoint one business learning post-pandemic and one personal learning from the 13 weeks of lockdown, what would those be?
good question. From a business perspective, flexibility.
Yeah.
Not taking my, not absolutely being everything being set in stone.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and moving quickly with a changing environment. I've always been a let me sleep on it. I'll have a think about that one. And even when people have asked me stuff, whether that's a client or a member of the team, or even in a family environment, I like to make a informed decision. I think the strange thing about the pandemic is that like if we've ever lost a client, which everybody does for whatever reason, I'm quite confident I can go out and get 2 new ones, and they're better than the one that's just left. The strange thing is about this situation is that for a period of time you couldn't go out and see anybody. So how strange, So no, certainly we've made, one thing I'm proud of is we made decisions quickly. Whereas I saw a lot of businesses kind of thinking, it'll be over soon, and we acted with strong mind, quick decisions, took a few risks. I think it would be quiet, and it was, thankfully. So we furloughed some of the team, cut some of the other costs. I've just said that I don't work 6 or 7 days anymore,
but you do
for a while. For a while, I have been doing.
Needs must.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and then personally, I mean, I have a great family, and I appreciate everything that we have. I think every family that I talk to, whatever they enjoy doing, what's strange in this situation is that you can't do what you enjoy doing. So certainly, if I'd ever thought that, we'd have had to look at kind of trying to homeschool, and that's mostly been a wife than myself, and we were heavily into going to the gym regularly, and we've not been able to do that. But what I'd say is if what I'm most proud of, work and personal, is that we said after the first week or two, we can either dwell on it, and unfortunately I think a lot of people have, and don't be wrong, I have my bad days like everybody does, but we said we're not going to let this beat us. So we said, both personally and business, we're going to actually be the best version of ourselves than we can be. We'd been gymming quite a lot, so we got some secondhand gym equipment, and did dumbbells and lots of things in the lounge, and which wasn't ideal, but it is what it is.
And, it's good enough for Joe Wicks. It's good enough for Ben Griffiths.
Exactly, and then started running much heavier. So we just finished after running like every day in lockdown. That's what I said from the start. I'm going to run every day in lockdown and do a mile or two. In May, I did 142 miles in May, and at the end of May, when my knees were hurting, a friend of mine, I know, and a friend of mine said we're raising some money for Cash for Kids, and I said, well, if I do 155 miles in June, I'll donate £100, and we did. So over 350 miles run in lockdown. A lot of people are saying they're feeling the pinch, and and they've all they've done is headed to the fridge and all those kind of things. Like to say that's not been the case in this house, and that's certainly if situations change, you can either let that be your excuse to go backwards, or change and work out a new direction and move forward. And I feel that's what we've done, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, well done, Ben. That sounds great. So with all of the benefit of hindsight, 9 years into Clever IT and growing it from just yourself in your back bedroom to your own premises with 10 people, and a very wide customer range, which you have. What words of advice would you give Ben, aged 16?
16.
Who were you then, Ben?
Who was I? I was quite serious and ambitious. I know you'll find that hard to believe, but I'd worked from kind of being 11. Did the paper round, and by the time I was 14, 15, I was opening up a newsagents myself when I was in high school 5 times a week. When I got my first job at 17, I was earning less than I did when I was working part-time, which was a bit of a disappointment.
There's a theme here, Ben. There's a theme that everybody earns more than you.
I know. But the advice I give, I think it's having that balance. I don't regret working really hard from being kind of 17 to, I dropped out of college after 1 year at sixth form. And I was getting good grades, certainly in IT, I was getting excellent grades. I thought I'd be going to university, and I did work experience for a week at a small IT company, and ended up getting offered a job. And everybody thought it was crazy. And I think because everybody thought it was crazy, I said, I've got to make this work because everyone thinks I'm a failure because I was going to go to university. So I kind of, broke the mold and carried on. But the advice I'd say is have fun with it and don't take it so seriously. Because I'd say the only negative is kind of between about 16 and 22. I was so single-minded and driven. I'm not saying I'm not at all now, because I have elements of that, but everyone says about that work-life balance. Up until COVID, I had a much better work-life balance, and I found that when I did the things I enjoyed doing, the business was more effective, and I ended up being more efficient and more successful by working less hours effectively than more hours inefficiently, if you like. So have fun, enjoy, I've always found myself very lucky. I love IT. Pick something you enjoy doing, that you're passionate about, and enjoy doing it. But along the way, enjoy. If I was giving advice to a young person now, is it's not all about the academic side. It's about the people. If you look after people in general, in whatever you do, you'll be successful. And success isn't always about money. Success is lots of different ways, but if you treat people in the right way, then what goes around comes around. So
I couldn't agree with you more. So follow your heart. Be kind to people.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant.
I still enjoy doing it now. So
well, we can see that. You can see that it's written across your face. Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time this afternoon, Ben. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you, and great to hear how you've weathered various storms over your 9 years at the helm of Clever IT. How do people find you if they want to chat to you?
Go to clever-it.com. So clever-it.com is our website. My email address is ben@clever-it.com. I won't give you my mobile number. You'll have to email me for that.
That's fine. We can remember Ben at clever-it.com. Fabulous. Thank you very much indeed. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Karen.